Hola, mi amigos. Welcome to the channel. Hey, today we're going to be talking about a really great new feature of the Revit 2022 API, temporary in-canvas graphics. I'm really excited about this feature. It's a tool that allows you to take image files and display them as temporary graphics right inside of Revit views. And they can be any images. They can be images indicating status of elements, or of buttons indicating actions that can be taken. Or they can be pictures of your dogs, or of you. And then it allows users to click on them just like they were a button on a form. But they're not a button on a form. They're temporary graphics floating in a Revit view. Now, the Revit SDK has a full sample application showing how to use this new feature. But there's a lot of code inside, and it can be very difficult to sift through it all and just find what you need to get started. So in this video, I will create a bare bones sample showing just how to create and click on these graphics, unmasking something scary and making it simple. Whoa, scared myself. All right, let's get into some code. In order to create temporary graphics, the first thing we're going to have to do is get a hold of an instance of our temporary graphics manager. This class implements the iDisposable interface, so we want to make sure that we dispose of it when we're done. Next, we'll create an in-canvas control data object to tell Revit where to find the graphic to display and where to display it on screen. So here I've grabbed a logo image and we're telling it to place it at 0, 0 on screen, which is pretty boring even for a bare bones segment. So let's at least pick a point to place it. And now with our control data created, all we need to do is tell our graphics manager about it. And then we need to tell it where to show this. If you can give it either a specific view ID, or if you just pass it the invalid element ID, it will display it in every view. And that's it. Now if we compile this and run Revit, we'll be able to see this graphic on screen. So here we are in a view in Revit. We'll launch our command. It's asking us to pick a point. We'll pick a point, and there it displays our graphic. You can see as we zoom and pan around, our graphic is there on screen. You can pan it off screen. So now all we need to do is wire up a handler to handle when we click it. Back in Visual Studio, we're going to create our new handler class. And we'll call this our logo click handler. And this class needs to implement the iTemporary graphics handler. Now, all these members of this interface may look a little intimidating to fill out, but there's really not much to do here. First thing we want to do is get a server ID, and this is a unique GUID. Now, I've created my own. You please create yours. Don't reuse mine. Then we need to get the service ID. Now, this is the service ID of our temporary graphics handler service, and this is the same for every one of these that you'll create. Name is pretty self-explanatory. The only thing interesting about the vendor ID is that whatever you put here needs to match whatever's in your add-in file. And now all we need to do is write the code in our onClick method that you want to run when someone presses your graphic. Now for our bare bones example, we're just going to do something simple. Clear the graphic off the screen, and then we're just going to show a simple task dialog. Now the data parameter that's passed in has a couple of interesting properties, one of them being the active document, the other one being the index of the graphic object that was created. And if we go back to our command where we created that, you can actually cache that index, that value somewhere in your program, and then you'll always have that link. You'll always know which button was clicked. We don't want to do that, however. We're just going to grab the document object. And then we're just telling our graphics manager to clear all of these graphics that are displayed on screen. And that's it. Now this handler is created. But if we were to go run Revit right now and click on our graphic, nothing would happen because we haven't told it how to run this click method when we click that particular graphic. So the third and final piece that we need to do is wire the two together. This is a one-time configuration that needs to happen. And the best place to do one-time configuration, or a great place to do it, is in an iExternal application implementation. So let's create an application class have it implement our iExternal application interface. And here's where we'll do our one-time setup, which will consist of creating an instance of our handler, registering it with the temporary graphics service, and then setting it active. And if you'll recall, when we filled out our get service method, a service ID method, in our handler, it just returned the service ID of the temporary graphics handler. So that's how we're grabbing the instance of our external graphics handler. And then we've added our instance of our handler, and now we just need to activate it. Okay, that should do it. Now let's go fire up Revit and give it a test. Here we are in Revit. We'll fire off our command. It's asking for an insertion point. We pick it. There's our graphics. Displaying on screen. Not only are they displaying on screen, but they're not clickable. So if we click it, our temporary graphics manager clears it out. Our dialog box is displayed. Hello, third dimension viewers. I hope you're having a great day. Now, one of the things you may have noticed about our graphics, let's get them back out here on screen, is the colors are a little bit funky. That does not look anything at all like my original image, color-wise at least. Here's the original image, and there's not a tremendous amount of information in the help files about colors or about the type of image, only that it needs to be a bitmap and that it should be at the right size that you want to display it. And if you want a transparent background color, then you should use the color that I show here to get that transparent background. But other than that, there's not a lot of information. So I'm not sure why the color is the way it is. So we're going to go out to the forums and we're going to ask a question on the color. And I'll leave a link to that forum post down below in the show notes. Now just be careful, because if you have come to this video from the forum, because I will provide a link to the video in the forum post. So if you've come here from there and then you click the link to go back, you could create some sort of time continuum thing. No, you could. I mean, it's not as bad as like crossing streams, but it could happen. They could get in this loop. But it could happen. I mean, it could happen. It could happen.